Today's show, surprise, it's on trades because the NFL trade deadline, less than a week away now. We have trade predictions for 5 notable players if they end up getting moved. Of course, there is no guarantee any of these guys will, but if it happens, I think I've cooked up some fun and fair, for the most part, ideas for all 5 guys. Now, when trades happen, we're going to have you guys covered here on Chat Sports. Going to have some fun NFL trade deadline coverage for you as well. So if you haven't already, please hit that sub button right now. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Free videos each and every single day. Our first trade prediction, a player who the team says they don't want to move on from. That is Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants. But teams should be calling because the Giants are in a very awkward spot. They don't want to pay him big money. A team that could use a back? How about the Baltimore Ravens? Now, he's got owed an $8.1 million salary. Ravens would owe the pro-rated figure, which comes out to roughly, a little over $4.5 million. That's not too bad for a team. Now, the running back trade market has been brutal for a while. Yes, DeAndre Swift got a 4th-round pick. It was from 2 drafts later. That's kind of like a 6th-round pick, frankly. My trade is a bit more expensive. The Ravens get Saquon Barkley, who they would then let walk in free agency, and in theory, get a 3rd or a 4th-round future comp pick back. It'd be a late 3rd they'd give up. The Giants get more draft capital, which I kind of think that they need. Barkley, by the way, he's missed some time again with injuries. That's why the 3rd almost might be too rich for him, frankly. But if the Giants don't want to trade him, you have to make them say no. The 3rd in the end might be enough to make that happen. 3.8 yards per carry. Continues to offer you some pass-catching value, but this Giants team is just not going anywhere right now. But I think we would almost all agree that Saquon Barkley is better than what the Ravens have right now. 86 carries, 346 yards for Gus Edwards, 41 for 196 for Justice Hill. Gus Edwards is an 80-yard receiving catch, by the way, which I think boosts those receiving yards up. Barkley helps you as a pass catcher. More than Hill, who's done really nothing there. And Edwards, that's how the one catch have done. I think that's a big element of the argument for the trade as well. Other teams I like, by the way, thought about the Bills, have them later. What about the Browns as well? So should the Giants trade Saquon Barkley? This will be today's pinned comment. You should know what that is by now if you've been subscribed. It means the ad might come here on YouTube. If it does, head down to the pinned comment and type in Y for yes, they should, emphasis on should, and for no, they will not. Speaking of should, the Ravens really should free Hunter Renfrow at this stage because they are doing very mean things to him, like not playing a guy that they paid and instead feeding targets to literally everyone else on their roster. The money's a problem for this one. He's due roughly $7 million in new cash over the course of the year. Cut that number in half and you're at $3.5, $4 million for a guy with like 6 catches. It's not very good. A lot of routes you could have gone here. I like the Bills. I've gone back to this one quite a few times. They have Deontay Hardy, more on him in a little bit. But I think that check down safety valve wide receiver, an upgraded Cole Beasley for Buffalo, would make life a little bit easier on Josh Allen. Hopefully take away some of the hits and the chaos moments, the negative ones that he produces. I'm going to stick with the future pick swap that has been oh so popular this year. This would probably be the Raiders don't eat that much money because, again, the money's an issue at this stage. 6th-round pick for Renfrow and a 7th. Dark horse team, I would have done it, but PFF already did. How about straight up for Carl Lawson from the Jets? Don't sleep on that idea, folks. The Raiders want some pass rush help, even though they're not that good. Whatever. Renfrow was a 1,000-yard receiver back in 2021. And injuries have been a problem? Sure, that's fair. But hasn't been hurt this season. Josh McDaniels comes to town and says, I had a lot of success with Julian Edelman in New England. You know what I'm going to do? Not give the ball to Hunter Renfrow at all and just ignore a guy that they paid after he got here. That is a damning indictment, by the way, on the Raiders as an organization. They have no idea what they're doing with their playmakers. Renfrow is totally wasted in Vegas. He'd be a fun fit in Buffalo. And yes, they have some slot guys. I don't mind Deontay Hardy, and I get that they paid Hardy as well. He and Renfrow are very different style players. Their plan was, hey, we're going to use 2 tight end packages this year. We're going to use Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid together. Well, now one of them's injured. How about instead of the 2 tight end packages, how about you lean into some 3 and 4 receiver sets? Davis and Diggs on the outside. You can still use Renfrow. He'd be super cheap. Trent Sherfield and Khalil Shakir are not moving the needle for me at the wide receiver spot. I like Shakir long term, but he's still not there yet at this stage. Now, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. They are the largest independently owned DFS platform in North America, and it's simple to play, making it easy and exciting as well. Make your picks, submit an entry in just a few taps, and turn $10 into $250 just like that. You can mix and match just NFL games. You can do NFL and college football games, NFL, NBA, NFL and MLB, it's college football, NBA. They got a wide variety of options and projections on any sport, not just football. You can even do esports, folks. My picks for this week's slate of NFL games, since it is NFL Daily after all. I'm feeling Bryce Young breakout game, more than passing yards. Travis Kelce, more than half touchdown, so 1, and more than Trevor Lawrence passing yards as well. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for the first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's video. Let's move to the Commanders. Chase Young, obviously on the Tuesday evening video, rumors, we mentioned the downside of giving up on Chase Young because it might get Ron Rivera fired. But if they're not going to pay Chase Young long term, yes, they should trade him. Get a better asset than a comp pick. Any pick you get in the same round will be higher than that comp pick, in theory. And you can spend money in free agency and not worry about losing the comp pick. By the way, it's very important to always consider. And you can bottom out a little bit this year if you want to rebuild. A team that needs some pass rush help, the Jacksonville Jags. They are a legitimate contender, not just for the AFC South, but to make some noise in the postseason because they have the coaching staff. I love watching Trevor Lawrence play. The defense needs some help. My trade idea is as follows. The Jags, of course, get Chase Young, a 3rd-round pick. It's a former top 5 NFL selection who's got 5 sacks already so far this season after missing the first game of the year. I'll throw in a conditional 2025 pick, kind of like that Calvin Ridley deal, based on if they pay him, playoff success could be another 3rd, or could it only be like no package if like Chase Young gets hurt potentially this season. Last 4 years for Chase Young, that is career stats. He looks more like the guy we saw in his first year. He is already on pace to shatter his career highs. Hell, he might do it before the trade deadline comes. Still in the range of outcomes, although it is Philadelphia, so probably not. But he might be a 10-sack guy this season. That carries value. And for Jacksonville, to put it in perspective, my friends, the guy's got almost as many sacks as the rest of the team not named Josh Allen combined does. Josh Allen has 7. Trayvon Walker is not there yet. He needs still significantly more time. He's got 2.5 sacks this year. Kayvon Chasen, not that good. DeJuan Smoot, okay, he's back, 1 sack. Roy Robertson-Harris, a 1/2 sack. They need pass rush help. Going after Chase Young or Danielle Hunter or whatever makes a ton of sense. And if Chase Young does get traded, or at least they will listen to offers, there will be interest. Lots of teams need pass rush help here. So will Chase Young get traded? 1 for yes, he will. 0 for no, he will not. Get those predictions in for me in the comment section right now. Bears cornerback Jaylen Johnson. Now make no mistake, if I ran the Bills, I would simply pay him because that's like really simple and easy, and I think that's really fun to do, and he's a good player. If they don't want to pay him, they should trade him. They get, I think, a pretty premium pick back. Fun destination? How about the 49ers? I don't love the Diamador Lenore, Isaiah Oliver tandem opposite Travarius Ward in nickel packages. I like to upgrade that one. Now, Johnson's great. It would be expensive. The Niners do not care about expensive. They are not afraid to be aggressive. Now a defensive star piece in the trade deadline, like the offensive star piece last year. I think at minimum the Bears should say no to anything that's not at least a 2nd-round pick. That's not Patrick Surtain level. That's probably 2 firsts and more for the Jalen Ramsey package. Maybe you can get another pick involved there as well. John's coming off one of his best games ever. He was awesome against the Raiders, although it was Brian Hoyer and AOC, which it's not exactly a good combo. But this year, been locked down and flashing some balls because he didn't show previously. 43.5%, 111 yards, 0 scores, 2 INTs, 3 pass breakups. He's been impressive. He really has been. I think if the Bears shop him, it should be a very premium pick, at minimum a 2 going back to them. Put your trade predictions in the comments section. Name the team and the player. If you want to add the competition, that's great, but at minimum the team and the player. Sound off in the comments right now. Mike Gesicki, the Patriots, despite being better, the shocking upset against the Bills, right? Are they a contender, producer Chris? You're a Patriots fan? No, he says no. He says no, because they're not, and that's fair. Other teams could use some tight end talent. So how about a team that never, ever, 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 almost ever, makes deadline deals? The Bengals. Gesicki's a good tight end too in New England. He would be the best tight end on the Bengals roster pretty comfortably because Joe Burrow does not like the current options at the spot. I think it'd be pretty cheap as well. A 6th-round pick, and maybe it could even be that whole day 3 pick swap in there as well. But the Bengals have not had great success so far from the tight ends. Gesicki has shown a bit more this year than what he showed last year. He's 7 games in, and he's already trending towards being able to get to about halfway what he did previously with Dolphins. You're not going to get the 700-yard guy, I don't think, ever again, maybe. But I do think you'd be able to get the other results from this team. You'd be able to get more than what the Bengals have done so far this year, which frankly has been pretty embarrassing at that position. So far this year they've put together 16 catches for 107 yards across their entire tight end room. Gesicki as a backup tight end, a tight end who has done more than that in New England. He'd be an upgrade instantaneously in Cincinnati over what they have right now.